All right, Humphrey's Playful Puppy Problem, Chapter 3, The Great Dog Disaster. Otto opened the door and picked Poppy up. Come on, pup. I think we need some peace and quiet. I know I did. He took her out of the door. Richie quietly drew a cart and began decorating a big board describing his experiment. Poppy loves fetching that ball, Otto says when he came back. I left her outside for a while. That was good news. Otto gave Richie a stopwatch so he could time my spinning. Are you ready, Humphrey? Richie asked. He gently took me out of my cage and set me up on my wheel. I started spinning, slowly at first, then I picked up the speed. Ready, set, go, Richie said as he started his stopwatch. I spun faster and faster. Ding, ding. Each time the bell rang, Richie made a mark on his chart. Ding, ding, ding. I picked up the speed. Go, Humphrey, Otto said. Ding, 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 ding. I spun so fast, Richie had trouble keeping up. That's just 1 minute, Richie said. Keep going, Humphrey. I can spin on my wheel for a long time, and I like the sound that bell ringing makes. Otto took pictures of me. Smile, Humphrey, he said, as a bright light flashed. That's 2 minutes, Richie announced. I kept on spinning and spinning. After all, I wanted Richie to get good grades on his experiment. I lost track of how many minutes I spun. That's good, Richie said after a while. You can get a rest now, Humphrey. He slowed the wheel with his hand and then moved me back to my cage. I think Humphrey needs a nap, Otto said. He was right about that. And I have to get home, Otto added. I don't think you need my help anymore. Richie said his goodbyes and sat down at his desk to write his report. I buried underneath my soft spot of my bedding and fell asleep. Later, when Richie got into bed, his mom and dad came by to say goodnight. Well, will you be able to finish that project tomorrow? His dad asked. Yes, Richie said with a smile. I am almost finished now. When they left the room, his parents turned out the lights and shut the door. But it wasn't long before I heard someone scratching and whining outside. It was Poppy. Sometimes she sleeps in my room, Humphrey, Richie said, but I think I should keep her away from you. Far away, I agreed. Luckily, I heard Richie's mom say, No, Poppy, you'll sleep in our room tonight. And then, finally, it was quiet. I slept well that night, and so did Richie. On Sunday afternoon, Richie worked on his project. Once in a while, I'd hear Poppy scratching at the door. Sometimes she would even bark, woof woof. But Richie kept the door tightly closed, which made me happy. I had to get some more spinning done for Richie. I got a little bit tired, but he said I did a really good job. By late afternoon, the report had a chart and photos and were attached to this big board. My wheel with the paper clip and the stand with the bell set next to it. Richie had used bright colors and it looked great. You have done a hamsterific job, I squeaked to Richie. It turned out well, Richie said. I just hope that Mrs. Bispain likes it. Oh, she will, I said. Richie's whole family came to see his experiment. Richie put me on my wheel and I started to spin as fast as I could while he explained how it worked. His two sisters and his brother were all excited to see me spin. I went even faster. Go, Humphrey, go, they shouted. When Richie made me stop spinning, his mom said, I'm so proud of you, Richie. I'm proud of you and Humphrey, his dad said. Let's celebrate and go out for supper. Sounds like fun, I squeaked. But it turns out that hamsters They're not allowed in restaurants, not even neat and polite hamsters like me. Soon I was alone in Richie's room. The house was quiet and I dozed off. I'm not sure how long I was asleep before I heard that whining sound. Poppy was outside Richie's bedroom door. Luckily, the door was shut. I closed my eyes and I tried to get back to sleep. Then I heard a scratching sound. Woof, woof, Poppy barked. The noise got louder and louder and the door began to shake. I'm not sure what Poppy did, but suddenly the door burst open and there she was. She ran straight towards the desk, jumped up on Richie's chair, and looked at me. I have never been so happy to be in a cage in my life. But if Poppy could open the door to the room, could she also open the door to my cage? She might figure out that my cage has a lock that doesn't lock. My heart was pounding. Stay away, I squeaked. I don't want to play. Woof, woof, she answered, her tail wagging. Poppy put her front legs up on the top of the desk to try to get a bit closer. Suddenly, there was a loud crash as her floppy puppy paws set the wheel sliding across the desk. The big board collapsed and the ding 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 ding. Luckily, the noise scared Poppy. She jumped off the chair and ran out of the room. I was so happy, happy, happy that she was gone. But I was sorry, sorry, sorry when I looked at the desk. The pieces of Richie's projects were scattered everywhere. It was completely ruined. All because of that playful puppy. Oh no, Richie shouted when he returned. His mom and dad ran into the room. What could have happened, Mr. Rinaldi said. Mr. Rinaldi looked around the room. Richie, was your door open when you got back? He asked. Yes, but I do remember closing it before we left so that Poppy wouldn't get in. Yes, it was, Richie said. So I guess she must have done it. Yes, 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 I squeaked. Poppy came in and wrecked the project. Richie sat down and tried to fix the project. The board was torn, so Richie taped it back together. He smoothed out his wrinkled report. Where's the bell? Richie asked. His dad began to search for it. And where's the paperclip? Richie wondered. It slid under the lamp, I shouted. And the bell is under the desk. They couldn't understand me, but they did end up finding the bell. We have to find all of the pieces, Richie said. The project is due tomorrow. Finally, Mrs. Rinaldi lifted the lamp. Here's the paperclip, she said. I felt a lot better, and so did Richie. But when he got his project back together, it didn't work. He put me on the wheel, and I began to spin. When the paperclip hit the bell, it just fell off. He worked on it some more. This time, when the paperclip hit the bell, the clip fell off. Oh, I just can't do anything right, Richie said. Richie's dad tried to help. When he finished, the bell didn't fall off, but it also didn't ring at all. It just went clunk. Richie needed to get to bed. I am sure that I can fix it in the morning, son, Mr. Rinaldi said. We all need to get some sleep. I know Richie didn't want to go to bed, but soon he was fast asleep. However, I was wide awake. The moon glowed brightly and I could see the wheel from my cage. I stared and stared at it all night long. It was almost morning when I finally saw the problem. Mr. Rinaldi had fastened the bell too tightly. Someone needs to loosen up that string so that the bell can swing freely. Then it'll ring right again. And I was the only someone who knew what to do.